All right, man, peace. You know, brothers, Draymond Green reminds me of cheese. When I was a kid, I hated cheese. I still can't eat cheese by itself. And when I was a kid, I used to take cheese off of my pizza. But when I got a certain age and I would eat pizza around my friends, I didn't want to look stupid taking the cheese off the pizza, so I just learned to eat the pizza with cheese on it. And that's Draymond. Draymond Green is that nasty ingredient that you could tolerate when it's a part of a great collective because it's essential to that collective. But if you take Draymond off that pizza, the pizza's still going to be pizza, but he's going to be whacked by himself. And I hope that he understands that. Because I would hate to see Draymond get traded away to another team and get slapped in the face with how limited he is as a standalone player. And it's becoming more and more obvious that a lot of his offensive deficiencies are going to cost Golden State when they play supreme defensive teams like Oklahoma City potentially in the playoffs. Because we already know with Golden State what they do. They want to face you up. They want to take long-range jump shots. So that's why I state DeMarcus Cousins is going to have to be implemented into their overall team rotation very quickly so that they can get a grasp of what they have exactly with him. But Draymond Green, man. Draymond Green is that cheese on that pizza, brothers. He's tolerable as long as he's a part of the correct system, but take him out of that system, boy. Whew. Good Lord, he's hard to watch. So anyway, they're going to talk about it. I'm going to chime in.
Draymond Green's shooting woes continued last night as he missed 6 of his 10 shots. So far this season, Draymond is shooting 42% from the field.
I was watching one of these videos. I was reading the comment section. Somebody said Draymond Green shoots jump shots like he has a book bag on.
Field in a career worst 21% from the three-point line. Dre, worried?
Someone will fall at some point, so it's probably a good thing because that means people are going to keep playing me like this. They don't ever start falling, people in trouble. So
when exactly is that going to happen, Draymond? He said when them motherfuckers start falling, then they're going to be in trouble. Your jump shot has not been falling for the last 2 years, Draymond Green. Once again, the last time I remember Draymond Green hitting his jump shots was in Game 7 of the finals in 2016 against the Cleveland Cavaliers. I think that's the last jump shot I've ever seen him hit.
Probably a good thing. I actually like it.
No, you don't. You're embarrassed, brother. Let's be for real. Nobody actually likes when the entire defense leaves them and dares them to shoot. I mean, honestly, they're giving you the Markelle Fultz treatment right now, bro. It's embarrassing.
People starting to guard me like they used to back in the day. So
yeah, what does that tell you?
When they start falling,
they might not start falling until you get traded to New Orleans for Anthony Davis.
That smile. Max, you have a problem with Draymond's comments?
No, he's saying what he's supposed to say.
I agree with that. He's saying what he's supposed to say, but hopefully he understands at a different frequency than what he's speaking at, because he's speaking like somebody who's delusional. He has not been hitting wide open jump shots for almost 2 years now. That's a fact. And the brother has to get on point with that, because right now I see it. It's very visible how he's starting to depreciate as an overall player. He just is. And as I stated in another video, I'm on record as stating that I would have considered trading Kevin Durant before Draymond Green, because I know what I'm getting with the Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green trifecta. I know what I'm getting with them, or at least I thought that I knew what I was getting. But as I watch Draymond more and more, and the NBA becomes less and less defense-oriented, he becomes more and more expendable, especially if he's not willing to make better decisions on the offensive end and become a greater threat from the outside.
He's thinking the way he's supposed to think, but he's got to get his game up. I mean, his shooting has been bad for several years now. Bad.
Agreed.
And the Warriors have won in spite of that. Now, I understand the fact that he's a threat to shoot from there. The fact that the Warriors can field a team and play 5 out truly. That's the death lineup worked. And before KD got there, Draymond, I thought, was the second most important player in it. Behind.
I agree. He definitely was the second most important player after Steph Curry before Kevin Durant got to this. That's not even a question.
Behind Steph, his pick and roll partner, and the guy who could shoot from range in spite of playing.
That pick and roll combination of Steph Curry and Draymond Green for about a 2-year span is as effective a pick and roll combination as we've seen in the history of the NBA. That includes Stockton and Malone. That includes Bird, Robert Parrish, whatever you want to name.
Playing nominally at least the 5. But if you're shooting 30% around there from 3, ain't going to cut it. Now, Draymond's right, Stephen A. If guys start, it's the difference between a guy who can't hit a shot and a guy you can walk away from. If guys are treating Draymond from the outside like they can walk away from him, the shots will start to fall. I mean, he was never really a 38% shooter. That was the result of the fact that he's on a team with Steph, who shoots from such distance and is so unselfish that he frequently got the ball with no one within a mile of him.
Completely agree. What Steph Curry brings to the basketball floor creates such almost unnatural dimensions for the team on offense that I think that it puts many of the other players on the Warriors, at least the players who were on the floor with Curry at the time, it puts them almost in a dream state where they're getting wide open shots, wide open mid-range shots. They can operate almost with impunity. These are things that they're not going to get in other places. Hopefully Kevin Durant understands that before he makes the decision to move, which is a possibility. So once again, Draymond Green, it's almost like Draymond Green is like a chick who does not quite understand how good she has it with the man that she's with. He's riffing a little bit too much. He's going to have to calm it down with his cantankerous, tumultuous nature. Or he's going to be considered more of a liability than an asset, and he does not want that. Because I promise you, wherever they trade Draymond Green to, his stock is going to drop precipitously immediately.
Right? And then you add Clay, and come on. But on a team with Steph and Clay and KD, Draymond, when the team is functioning well, will be getting wide open looks. He's going to have to shoot them, but importantly, he's going to have to make them. Those shots, he can't be shooting 30% from outside.
30% on wide open, I mean practice shots. That's what he's shooting 30% on.
Draymond Green has missed about 13 or 14 games this year, including like 10 or...
He's been missing some common sense this year also.
10 or 11 consecutively from like November 24th. From like...
Look at Klay Thompson doing the Rock the Baby Russell Westbrook celebration. These guys are something else.
Like November 17th to like December 7th. So I get that. And I understand it. And I don't have problems with his comments for the reasons that you highlighted, Max. But I must say this. I do have a problem with that smile.
So do I.
Because I don't think this is a laughing matter.
Neither do I, sir. And I think that he's laughing to hide his cries, to be honest with you. I think that he feels disrespected, but he's not going to let it show.
You can't find a bigger fan of Draymond Green than me. I love the brother, and he's as real as it gets. He ain't a phony, he ain't a fake by any stretch of the imagination. And he does a lot.
Sometimes you could be a little bit too real for your own good. Like Dave Chappelle used to say in that skit, when keeping it real goes wrong. Sometimes you should probably retain some of your more quote-unquote controversial thoughts until you think of a better way to express yourself.
There's a lot of things that you can't attach numbers to that are incredibly valuable to winning. I get that. But the Warriors are playing 4-on-5 ball offensively when he's on the floor.
Right, but Stephen, what does that really mean? The Warriors are playing 4-on-5 ball. They have 3 other All-Stars in their starting lineup, and they're All-Stars for their offense. So, I mean, that's kind of a stretch, especially when these other teams, they might be playing 5-on-5, but their 5 starters are nowhere near on the level of a Steph Curry, a Kevin Durant, and a Klay Thompson. They have 2 MVPs. They have 2 of the last, 6 MVPs?
Max Kellerman, I know the games have been missed, but I'm going to speak directly to Draymond Green when I say this. Do you realize that you have not scored in double figures since Halloween? I understand.
Damn. So LeBron James has a double-figure streak of about 900 games or so, and Draymond Green has a non-double-digit streak. He has a single-digit streak going back to Halloween. Ain't that a bitch? But yeah, KD won it in 2014. Steph won it in 2015, 2016. In 2017, it was Russ. And 2018, it was James Hardhead. So yeah, they've won 3 out of the last 5 MVP awards.
I understand he missed those games. Total about 14 altogether. But he hasn't scored in double digits since Halloween. And I think the three-point shooting numbers are about 18 to 20%. When you take that into consideration, you have to ask yourself this question. Are the Warriors going to win the championship? if you continue to play that way. Shoot.
This current team right now of the Golden State Warriors, they could win a championship as presently constituted, even without Cousins. But they would have to go to hell and back in the playoffs in order to win a championship. I honestly could see them like the 1988 Los Angeles Lakers having to win 3 7-game series in order for them to win a championship.
Shoot, meaning shoot the basketball that way. Because that's what this comes down to. He's only been back for like 5 games. Only played like 7 games, or 9 games rather, since Halloween. But he hasn't scored in double figures in any of those 9 games. And I'm looking at it from the standpoint.
Also understand something, like I've stated in other videos, the rest of the league has caught up with the Warriors, man. It's not just going to be like how it was in 2016. Kevin Durant stated this point blank. He said, the league has caught up with us. They know our plays.
Point. He's got to put the ball in the hole, because let me tell you something. If they get to a point, if they don't have to pay attention to him, that's more attention that gets put towards KD and Steph Curry and Klay Thompson, and that is a problem. So Draymond Green don't have to work on much else, but his shot is something he definitely has to work on if the Warriors are going to win or going to three-peat.
And to be honest with you, I think the brother has to work on his conditioning too. He looks about 15 pounds overweight. He looks chubbier this year than he looked last year.
So I disagree. I think they'll win whether or not he hits the shots. It'll just be tougher without him hitting the shots.
I agree with you, Kellerman.
I really do think they win regardless. You have Steph.
I think I would give them the edge to win, but if they lost, it wouldn't shock me. And if they did win, I think that they would have to win at least 2 7-game series in the playoffs, as this team is presently constituted.
Steph and KD, 2 5-star players, plus Klay, a 4-star player, and even without the shot, like the reason Draymond's not a 4.5-star player is because he's not hitting shots. Still,
Draymond Green is not a 4.5-star player, and it's not just because he doesn't hit shots. I mean, I would give Draymond a solid 4. I give him a solid 4. As a defender, I give him like a 4.7, 4.8. He's not a 5 only because he does not have the height, and he's not quite as good an athlete as he was even a couple of years ago because of age and attrition. As an offensive player, I give him like 2.5, honestly. So I mean that averages out probably to somewhere, in the high 3s, somewhere around there. That's why I would have Draymond Green overall as a basketball player right now, because once again, in this current NBA, being a great defensive player is not as important on a night-to-night regular season basis as it will be in the playoffs, and definitely not as important as it's been in years past in the regular season, where Draymond was much more impactful. He's still impactful now, but the NBA has de-emphasized defense so much that Draymond has to improve his offensive performance in order for him to be a player who could approximate what he was bringing to the table a couple years ago.
Still a 4-star player because of what he can do off defensively, not to mention how he can be your pick-and-roll partner, at least rolling and stuff like that. My point is this. Really what's happening is he's costing himself millions and millions of dollars, and maybe his spot on the Warriors.
That's highly possible. And Draymond Green is not a max player. In order for dynasties to endure, there always has to be somebody, at least one prominent player, who takes low. We know that Kevin Durant is not going to take low. Steph Curry's already gotten his money. Klay Thompson is probably going to get the max, and he probably deserves it because he normally gets the toughest assignment on the perimeter, meaning he normally guards the opposing team's best guard, or maybe even the hottest small forward for the opposing team, their best wing. And they also expect him to bring about 20 to 22 points per game to the table. And we know that Klay Thompson tends to step up when you least expect it and when it's most needed. Draymond Green, once again, is not a max player. He's not going to get the max. No pun intended, max.
Because if he is now going forward perceived as a guy who really isn't an outside threat, yeah, he can play defense, and other guys can do that too. You can find a cheaper replacement for him. And then what team is going to want him, and then what are they going to pay him? Plenty of teams will want him. But what are they do they think they're getting when they get him? I think they win regardless this year. But he's...
Oh, there'll be other teams that want him. It's just a matter of what they're going to be willing to pay him. I could see the Rockets utilizing him. I don't know what their overall cap situation is, but I could see them trying to bring him on.
But he's costing himself money. Got to hit those shots.
I don't think
down the line when he's a free agent, I'm talking about.
I don't think they win it regardless, and I think that you got to remember you can chase other guys off the 3-point line and turn them into a 2-point scoring team if Draymond is no threat.
All of them?
You never know.
Guys.
No, you just don't know, Stephen A. Smith. What you said was ludicrous, and even Matt Kellerman had to call you out. All those players are not going to be chased off the 3-point line, and that's the importance of them being able to drive and kick, finish at the basket, hit mid-range jump shots, which they all can do. The problem with Golden State is that oftentimes they get uncomfortable when they're put in the position where they have to make mid-range jump shots, so it discombobulates them for a moment. That's why the Rockets were moderately successful in the middle of that series last year in the Western Conference Finals. And then eventually they were able to adjust. But no, you're not going to take 3 dynamic offensive players out of the game at once. That's just not going to happen. But anyway, we'll see what happens with Draymond Green over the course of this season. Peace.